Hello guys and girls listening to this is Rija and these are my dogs with an announcement for you.
You can follow Rija in all these social networks like Instagram, Twitter, or even join the Discord server. Also, if you want to support Rija, that will be super cool and you can do it on Patreon.
What's up guys and girls listening to this? So this is Rija and today's video is gonna be a little bit different because I'm gonna use a text-to-speech program. I have seen it being used in a lot of other r/AskReddit videos, so yeah, don't worry, I will still make videos with my voice, but for these kind of videos I'll probably use this text-to-speech thing. So anyway, let's start.
People of Reddit, you are to be transported to your favorite time period with just enough resources to make a living. When do you go, and why? Historians of Reddit, what horrible reality awaits them? I've always wanted to see what high life West Europe was like in the Victorian era. Specifically the mid-1800s. You die in syphilis. Or possibly you go insane from mercury poisoning, one of the few treatments for syphilis that existed. Not everyone had syphilis. It wasn't nearly as common as most people think, and TBH until you hit tertiary syphilis it wasn't even really symptomatic. But if you hit tertiary syphilis you were pretty Depending on your gender and social class, you were more likely to die from childbirth, if woman, lead poisoning, it was in everything, battle, if male, First Opium War, Crimean War, etc., famine, if Irish, or generalized disease, usually called fever or convulsions due to poor hygiene. Even in the upper classes. I went for the funny reply, even if syphilis was overrepresented among men in the upper classes, since prostitution was rife. The serious reply would have been you die from lung disease, since approximately 25% of all deaths in Victorian England were from bronchitis, tuberculosis, or pneumonia. No other cause of death comes even close to being as common, regardless of class. Battle and diarrhea/dysentery/typhoid fever aren't even close, and convulsions are about equivalent to the number of deaths from consumption and they used 40B alone, so approximately 10%. I would go back to the cool age of dinosaurs, climb atop the highest hill, and wait for the comet to hit me with widely spread arms. Not a historian, but I think giant lizard birds are going to eat you before you get to the highest hilltop. Edit, in this fantasy are you listening to With Arms Wide Open by Creed? You get bitten by a mosquito. But the mosquitoes there are the size of large birds. It drains several pints of blood. You pass out. As you wake up, you're groggy. And then the pain starts. You've contracted one of the earliest forms of malaria from the mosquito. The pain racks your body, and you're flailing, gets the attention of a small pack of prehistoric predatory vultures that have never been discovered by modern man. They eat you alive. The last thing you see is the comet, and for some reason, you can make out a dick butt picture chiseled into it. Then you finally die, thankful that the pain has stopped. You wake up in hell for having purposely attempted to commit suicide. The devil tells you the Christians got this part right. He then sends you back to the point immediately before the mosquito bit you. Rinse/repeat. For eternity. Thank you, genie. If I recall the atmosphere was different back then, so you might just asphyxiate and become a nice meal for a wandering dinosaur. Additionally you would likely introduce all our modern bacteria and viruses to the virgin earth and possibly be the cause of the extinction. Early 90s as a teenager, instead of a child as I was. It was awesome. I graduated high school in '94. The perfect mix of technology and freedom, etc. Yup, getting through our formative years without cell phone cameras logging our every move, but we've always had the benefit of the internet in our career lives. Let's all breathe a collective sigh of relief over the fact that phone cameras were not a thing during the Macarena craze. I was a teenager in the early 90s, and it was pretty damn awesome. Know what would be better? Early 90s/end of the 80s as a 20-something. Travel to Seattle, see awesome shows in bars, Mother Love Bone, Green River, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, etc. Go catch that epic Metallica/Guns N' Roses tour. So, a Gen Z? Well, I was born in 1975, so I'm in the tail end of Gen X, but was still only 16 in 1991. So I guess it's likely older Gen Z. Born in 78 myself, wish I coulda gone to those first few Lollapaloozas. Chili Peppers, when they were good, Jane's Addiction, The list goes on. The lineups of the first 3 years were amazing. Instead I got to go to the shitty one in '95, with whole headlining. We left when they hit the stage. Honestly, the Bostons were the best band on that itinerary and they were like the opening act. The second one would have been awesome. Jane's Addiction, Pearl Jam, Metallica, RHCP, Ministry, Soundgarden, Jesus, and Mary Chain, Alice in Chains, etc. Edit. Holy shit, I just looked it up. Also featured Rage Against the Machine, Tool, Ice-T, Cypress Hill, House of Pain, Smashing Pumpkins, SDP, 9 Inch Nails, and more. It was great. People were generally optimistic. Technology was advancing at an amazing rate. The music kicked ass and there were lots of jobs available for teenagers. So you could go to school, work a job after school, and buy great music and cool tech with the money you made. Good times. The 50s. Just because I feel like it. Beginning transport to 50 AD. My bad 1950s. The draft was a thing in the 1950s, and if you're too young for that in the 50s, you're going Vietnam later. Well, if you were transported into the era, chances are there would be no record of your birth. They'd have a hard time tracking you down and drafting you. Not only would you have technically not registered for the draft, you technically would not exist. They wouldn't even know to come investigate you, unless someone tips them off. Not saying it won't cause you trouble. You'd get arrested or held, for sure, and then shenanigans, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to war. Just prison. Probably. Depends on what part of the world you're in. US is pretty cool, if you're a white guy, but I fear otherwise. China or USSR, yikes. Anywhere else, prepare for Cold War shenanigans in your government, possibly resulting in a few massacres and or genocides. Yeah, the US was where my mind was at. You'd have to shed modern mannerisms and values for risk of being called a communist, maybe watch out for some diseases, but it's feasible to survive. Now, whether it would be very enjoyable is another question. It certainly would be easier to make a livable income, but you wouldn't have access to things like the internet, and you'd likely have to alter your sense of humor to fit with the times, lest some modern catchphrase, or, God forbid, meme tip people off that you're different. I want to end up at the Renaissance period, and see the artwork like the Sistine Chapel being made in person. Am I doomed? Yep, you'll drink fecal bacteria infested water and die of dysentery like everyone did before 1906. Could you not be the weird guy who boils all his water? Some people in antiquity did boil water prior to drinking, not if he's smart and sticks to drinking alcohol instead. No joke, even the Puritans drank beer. Water was impure, but the process of making beer killed the bacteria, making beer safe to drink. So when the Puritans came to America, they stocked the ships full of beer. The fact that they'd run out of beer was one of the reasons they ended up settling at Plymouth Rock. They even had what was known as small beer, that was only 0.5% alcohol, that they'd serve to children and workers during the day, so they wouldn't get drunk. Beer really is the cause of, and solution to all of life's problems. You won't speak the language anywhere, as our common tongues aren't the common tongues used by the majority of the populations at the time. You will catch diseases constantly, as the strains you have immunities to don't exist, but instead there are other strains of diseases that will fuck you up. You need to innately know and follow religious and social customs as they were back then. Otherwise, well, let's just say that most problems were sorted out with violence. You know what? I'm okay with right now. Maybe about 10 years in the past, so I can buy Bitcoin and be super rich by the end of 2017. But seriously, I have food readily available, so much clean water I can literally bath in it daily, medical care that cure and fix so many things, low risk of crime happening to me, information all around the world at my fingertips. This time period is pretty goddamn awesome, even with its flaws. I mean, so long as I stay in the same country, or at least one similar to it. Something like this. Just go 10 to 20 years back, make all sorts of good investments, see Apple, Amazon, etc., and become rich in the present. Philadelphia in the second half of the 1700s. I'd love to start a business and hang at the coffee shop with Ben Franklin. Too bad you're going to die of tuberculosis.
So guys and girls listening, I hope you enjoyed this video. I don't know, like if it works out fine, I'm probably gonna continue doing r/AskReddit videos. Hopefully it does, but I'm gonna still make videos with my own voice, don't worry about it. That being said, I'm gonna answer to this question, and I'm pretty used to the internet and all the social media and stuff, so I really like this age, of the internet. But if I were to travel to any point in time, I would probably say I would like to be, in the medieval times. I have been watching Game of Thrones as a lot of people are doing right now. So I ask myself, like, how will life be in that period of time? Like, I don't know, it will be crazy, with all the, with all the diseases and the wars and all that. But I think it will be a pretty interesting time to be alive, So I don't know. What do you think about it? Like, if you could travel to any point in time and any place, obviously, where would you like to live? So I would love to read your comments. So you know what to do. Answer in the comment box. And also, if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, share, etc., etc. You know what to do. Guys and girls listening to this, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye.